you're in Miami, right? You're watching Vice in California and Washington and Oregon and Colorado.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you know, Arkansas and there are talks in New Mexico and then Oklahoma, right? What made you decide to just come to Oklahoma? And then walk me through where you chose to come to Oklahoma. Like it's a big ass state. So
that's a
like,
great
you know what I'm
story.
saying? Like, so I've always wondered and been fascinated when an adult gets ready to make a move. And you said it was a big risk for you and it was a big challenge, right, to overcome because you're leaving something you know to go to something you don't know. Tell me that path right there, if you can. Tell the folks that.
Yeah, I mean, Marty, we had a big role in that. You know, we've been friends for a long time. Marty comes from the same town that I come from in Florida. And, you know, we had a friend of ours that was in Colorado doing hemp
Close.
stuff. He was growing hemp under the Farm Bill. And he calls me up and he says,
Way
hey,
to clarify
we
that,
are-
folks. I like that little clarification under the Farm Bill. That's right.
He calls me up and he says, hey, man, I'm no longer in Colorado. I've headed out to Oklahoma. And I'm like, what are you doing in Oklahoma?
Right.
So, you know, he mentioned, you know, what had happened with State Question 788. And I said, well, how would that benefit me at all? He says, well, you have such a passion for the cannabis industry. Wouldn't you like to get involved in actually making some of that medicine? I'm like, I don't think that's possible. It's so freaking crazy expensive. He goes, dude, it's $2,500
Right.
to get a license. I'm like, what?
Right.
First thing I did was call an attorney to verify everything he was telling me.
But this was 45 days. He had 45 days before
Right,
the
'cause
window
the window
closed.
was going to change. Remember, in the
And I called the
beginning,
next day, I said, if that's what you're going to do,
yeah.
then you better do it.
there
Quick
was
light,
no
very quick
You didn't
light.
have to be a resident for a certain period of time back when we got in. There was a window.
Yeah.
So we literally got on a plane the weekend after that, and we were here in Oklahoma. We arrived in Tulsa.
Okay, let's go shout out T-Town.
Yeah, and we loved it. I mean, from the very beginning, it was very familiar because it's so green, right? In certain times of the months, we were like, man, Florida's really green like this. So there was a real connection to that.
Right. Especially parts of southern Florida. Like,
Right.
You know, if you've never been there,
Sure.
It's very. I haven't been as far as Miami, but I was in Fort Myers and then Orlando, and then I've been through. But it was surprisingly green going through. You're like, oh damn, it's okay, levee green, and obviously fence that shit off. Excuse my American, so you don't get those wow. And then the deep tubs and showers, like they were just. Yeah, never mind. Okay.
So I'll jump to the story. I mean, we come out here, we verify everything that's
Right.
going on, and instantly I want to get involved. you know.
Okay.
I see the opportunity, and so does my family, and I say, you know what, this is a passion. I'm going to go ahead and pursue that. It looks like now some of those barrier to entries are no longer there.
Right.
Let's pursue it. So we did, and we ended up coming out here. I remember when we were looking at properties, it was funny because I had to have my license already to start the application process. So I go to the DMV, and there's 3 homes that we're looking, or 3 ranches, because we ended up buying a farm out here.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That we were gonna look at, and I get to the DMV, and they asked me, "You're for my address, right?" And I literally go like this in Zillow, and I pick out of 3. One of them, that was the property we ended up buying.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had no idea. We hadn't seen it. We ended up falling in love with it once we saw it, and it was in a town that's not, it's a smaller town. It's Okemah. It's about an hour south of here, Woody Guthrie's hometown, right? And
Look at this guy, guys. He just moved to Oklahoma, and look at him. He's in the
man.
culture. I love it.
you got to either
You
be
better
in it.
know.
You got to
You
get
better
in
know.
it.
I like
it's
it.
important to be in the culture, I think so. But yeah, we loved
This
it.
land is our land. This land is your land.
Let's go. Speaking of, you should go down and check out the Woody Guthrie Museum
yeah, it's
downtown
great.
Tulsa. It's awesome. Shout out to Tulsa and their art scene. It's amazing. God, get out of here, bro. That's so cool.
It was a great story. So it felt like it was all meant to be for us. We ended up, starting Icy Melts there. That's kind of where we figured things out real early on, and now we're in a new chapter, and we're enjoying every bit of it. It's the journey
I like
that
that.
you have to really enjoy.
Well, I mean, that's all you get.
That's really
That's
all you
like, I mean, at the end of the day,
It's
that's
a
really
memory at
all
the
we
end of
get,
it.
right?
Exactly.
Like, so we're trying to maximize those times, right?
Yes, sir.
So that makes me happy. That makes me so happy, man.
Growing, which was a very interesting story too. My son is actually 23 years old. Just
Well, hold on. Let's go into this story. Yeah,
Right.
come on now. Give
man,
us
I
this.
ended up calling him from
Family
Florida,
ordeal right now.
and I said, "Hey,
Okay.
I've got
it
a
is.
couple things going on in Oklahoma. I could use your help bringing some things from Florida over
Okay.
here." And we ended up doing that. He ended up coming out here, and I remember that we had an issue with the grower at the time who hasn't. You know, unfortunately, we had to go our separate ways, and my son's like, "Dad, I'm just gonna like dive right in." I'm like,
He's
"You
already got
dive
some
right
knowledge,
in?"
right?
He's like, "Yeah, I've researched this on YouTube. I think I got it." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's jump on in." I mean, he had a successful first grow. Obviously, it's nowhere near where he's at now, but he's been in the game for less than 3 years, 2 years now, I think it is.
Okay.
And he's growing some of the most absolute fire in the state. It's not just because he's my son, it's because when you give people an opportunity and you take away the barriers to entry,
Yeah.
there's people that are going to shine. They're going to revolutionize the way we do things. That's why in these other states where you have to be a multi-million-dollar corporation to get into it,
Yeah.
that's not true cannabis, man.
No.
That's monetized cannabis.
Yeah.
You know, this is a real market.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I get to make a product, she gets to make a product, and we get to put that on the market, let the patients decide what's good medicine or what's a good product. You know what I'm saying? Not the people who have the most money to buy a license.
Yeah.
So we're really enjoying that, and you know, as we grow, we're starting to meet new companies that are in it, that have been here for a little while, that have their sights on growing outside of Oklahoma.
Bigger things, different things.
But it all started here. So the SOPs that were built here, you know, the procedures, the things that we built here are going to be always forever known. Icy Melts is always going to be known as an Oklahoma product.
Like that.
Okay.
I like that.
No matter whether we came from Miami or not, this is the state that gave us the opportunity. So, you know, we want to do the best that we can here in our home state, and then take that passion to other states and let people know what Oklahoma did.
Yeah, let's go. Like, I
know
like
what I mean?
all of that. I like all of that.
Hi, I'm David Trujillo with Icy Melts Extracts, and we're here today in Key Largo, Florida, just to bring you a little piece of where I grew up, my background, a little bit about who we are, where we come from, and what inspired us to become Icy Melts. You know, I know these keys like the back of my hand, and all the fishing spots here. This is a place that just brings me back to my childhood. It inspires me in so many different ways, from the culture, the food, the music, the way of life here. And you know, this is one of the places where I started to really get excited about the possibilities of getting into or entering into the cannabis industry. So out here in the Florida Keys, one of the things that we love to do is catch fish. It's something that we love to do as a family. We get together, we experience the time together, going out catching fish, bringing it back in, you know, preparing it our way, right? Playing with different spices, different temperatures, different ways of putting it together. And it's been a tradition of ours for over 30 years. And you know, it's very similar to the way we've played in our solventless hash lab, you know, playing with different concentrates, playing with different forms of cannabis, bringing new ideas to the table. You know, I hope you guys love our products as much as I love this place. This is a place that I adore, you know, and for me, moving and leaving this place is a big deal. But because of the passion that we have for the patients of Oklahoma, for the medicine that we are now making through Icy Melts, we've decided to do that. And I wanted to take this time here to shoot a little bit kind of my hometown, my background, just show you guys a little bit about what we do, how we enjoy our life day to day. And the patients of Oklahoma have welcomed us. They love our brand, they love our medicine. You know, we are fully dedicated to Icy Melts and providing the best possible cannabis, you know, the state can have. So I hope you guys enjoyed spending some time with us here in the Florida Keys, seeing where we come from, what drives our passion. And we are coming to bring everything that we've learned and all the passion we have here with us and bring it to you for your benefit.
It's
And
not
so-
only a recreational decision, like for people to enjoy that, pairing of cannabis. We found that when you layer different, cultivars, you're going to be hitting certain receptors in the endocannabinoid system that not just one cannabinoid.
Correct.
Or a set of cannabinoids
Yeah.
might affect. That's why you find people that gravitate to one strain over another for a medicinal reason.
Yeah.
Right? So we're learning that it's not just THC, CBD, CBN,
Yeah.
CBG
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are responsible for even killing cancer cells. There are unnamed cannabinoids in the plant still
Yeah.
that are responsible for things like that. And it's happening every single time.
All the time.
In the peach tree.
All the
I mean,
time.
you put it in these cannabinoids, cancer gone, dead. They can't explain it, right? And then we have parts of the endocannabinoid system that are not just the CB1, CB2 receptors. There's so many more receptors that are unidentified that
Correct.
we need to really focus on. And
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we like to do is we like to make medicine that affects all those receptors,
Full spec.
right? Full spectrum. So
that.
we tried to do that in the most natural, in the cleanest way possible, and we found that to be ice water extraction.
Okay, and it is. I
You know,
believe
we
so
really
as well.
enjoy that. So, we have some new products coming out that are going to showcase cultivars,
Okay.
that growers are going to be growing, where you've got strain-specific flower, ice water hash, and rosin on a smokable product. That could be either a glass tip that we put on the end of that.
Nice.
It could be a crutch that was designed by somebody working in-house with us.
Okay. A crutch, what's a crutch?
A crutch is kind of like
What
a
do you-
filter that,
Okay.
is designed in a way to support the material that's inside.
Aye.
Right,
So
and
it's
it's
still
something you can
filtered
toss after you're done. You don't have to feel bad because it's glass and you got to throw it
Okay.
out. It's a little bit different. Some of these are biodegradable already, so it's in
Nice.
line with the environment and what we're trying to do. I think
super
for us, it has been extremely humbling because when you start to recognize that what you're putting your passion into is actually changing someone's life for the better.
And you can change.
And how they're using it, how they're experiencing. We've heard from so many people that have used our medicine and say, honestly, if I wouldn't have found icy melts, I'd still be looking for that solution. And I think it's because we pay a lot of attention to how we put together our products. And,
Yeah, you're just
and
not
we're going to
product
continue to
putting.
do that into, forever, as long as I'm around.
Hey guys, Perry Jones III, PJ3, checking in with you. We're sitting down, getting ready to speak with Jace, what Touched by Cannabis. You don't want to miss this. So we got Jace here, good friend of mine. We've known each other now about 5 years.
Yeah.
Actually helped me to get started into the industry. And now he is in our state with his brand called Touched by Cannabis. So like Jace, thank you for taking the time to get ready to introduce yourself and like expand on our friendship and all this good stuff, man. I'm proud of you, man.
You're welcome. Thank you for talking with me, Perry.
Definitely. Everybody always wants to know these things, and that's what I want to get from you, right? And so the first one is like, how did you get started in this industry?
Cannabis has been in my family since the 30s. So it's been something that it's always been in my family growing up for generations. My great-grandfather grew cannabis to support our family. He was a coal miner in Colorado.
Okay.
And so that was one of those things that was supplemental income. I guess it's kind of natural that we ended up here.
How did you come up with what your standard is?
When I started growing plants and more of them, I just realized this is a manufacturing process that needs to be sustainable and reproducible and maintain that level of quality all the way start to finish. I've been growing cannabis for 17 years now. When I first started growing cannabis, I was a fighter jet mechanic and a satellite mechanic. And so I did it as a hobby and for my own personal medicine.
Right.
And that just kind of evolved into this passion that I have now.
17 years. Jeez. All right. I love that. That says a lot, like commitment, consistency, you know, and really taking the time to find, like you said, medicine. So you've been medicating yourself for a while now. Who are you now? That's who you were when you started in this industry. Who is Jace now?
Well, as that passion progressed, we became caregivers for children with cancer. And so we've always been patient advocates and educators, and I think that's still who we are today. It's in a different state than we started in that has all new new ways that this plant needs to be used. So over 17 years of cultivation, I've tried every style of growing there is. So I've done deep water culture, I've done hydroponics, I've done soil containers, I've done no-till in beds, and what I've really come to understand and have a focus in is Korean natural farming or natural farming in itself. And so that's where the natural portion of the NICE acronym comes in, because as I've continued this educational path, it's brought me to the point that I need to bring nature into my grow to provide the best that this plant can do. We can adjust environments and we can do those things, but if we're feeding in the same way nature does, one, it's safe in consumption because of the lack of pesticides or fertilizers that are used. And it's also cost efficient and affordable.
What do you think will be the future of your style and your product?
I'd like to see the future of the style expanded upon throughout the industry because, one, we utilize a lot of consumables in this industry. If we're throwing away medium or we're using water-soluble salts that can contaminate waterways, those are all ways that this process can be improved on, along the way of being affordable for a business owner.
Okay.
because this is a very expensive industry to be in. Any way that I can teach people to be more affordable and more sustainable, those
More
are ways
effective.
that I feel that it's beneficial in not just the product that's produced, but in the cost of doing that. I believe that there's a point where the people who are growing the product get a fair market price for what they're growing, and all the way through that the end user and patient isn't being gouged for a product that isn't the quality that they want, or it's radically marked up to an unaffordable medicine.
Right.
When it comes back to the name of our business, right? It comes back to the name of it that is touched by cannabis, and that's because we felt we're touching people's lives through what we're doing with this plant.
Man,
Yeah.
Jace, listen, I can't wait to show everybody everything that you've got here. Guys, make sure to get out and check out Jason, Touched by Cannabis. He's not only a dear friend of mine, but he is a person who is actually impacting the world and doing it in a multitude of ways. So thank you for your impact on this world. Thank you for your friendship. And man, I just can't wait to film you again. Let's do some more, right?
You bet. You
All
bet.
right, man. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Follow up.
My goodness. I told you it was delicious, right? I said that I had something special for you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have Miss Stephanie here from Yum Sweet Leaf. And let me tell you, whoo! No, hold on, we're doing it. See, this is why I need that button. I'm gonna get that button to just clap, automatic clap. So that's what that is.
Yes.
Welcome, young lady.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence
Thank
today.
you. I'm
We're
happy
so
to be
excited to
here.
have you on. This has been a few weeks in the making as well, guys. We've been working on this, and now time has really made itself presentable, and it's worked great. And you've been able to come and show us some greatness. Guys, I'm holding this box because I'm just fascinated by some of the things that we get to have here in our state, right? And then the creative minds that are bringing some of these products and medicines to the patients of Oklahoma. I'm looking and holding this box because when I show you guys, I mean, if I'm surprised, I hope you guys get surprised. I hadn't seen this yet, but you're so creative.
Oh, thank you.
You're so creative. I'm going to
Yes.
show them real quick what we have. Look at this. So not only is this the box, right? But then, bam, you get to open up. And it's crazy because there's cookies on the inside. And they're all individual. And it's a creative package all the way around. And I'm just fascinated by what you have here.
Thank
and so,
you.
like, look at that. Look at that. And then here. And so she really did some creativeness with this and then added her stickers in here for you to take
Oh,
too.
yes,
But
yeah.
again, look at this.
Yes.
You get to see exactly what it is. And this one is cookies and cream,
Yes,
right?
this is a Yum cookies and cream, and I like that window in my box so that you can see what you're buying.
Right.
And there's no mold. They're not broken. They're not crumbly. They don't look all stale and icky. So I put the window in my box because I wanted every patient to see what you're buying. And because I know there's a lot of things. Well, when we first started, right, OMA has all the rules with packaging.
Right,
It has has to be opaque, not attractive to children, all of that. So I thought, well, how can I get around that where the patient can actually see what they're buying and know it's going to be a great product? And I thought, well, my flap, I'm just going to put a flap over the window so that they can just open the flap up and see the cookies and
So creative.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I just, guys, I know I would have been like, oh, well, I mean, I guess they're going to need to buy it. She's like, no, we're going to put a flap on.
Yes,
It's so
yes.
awesome. It looks so
Thank
great.
you so
Thank
much.
you so much for blessing us with you today,
I am
man.
so excited. I'm so excited for you to try them too. So you
Oh, yeah,
get
we're
to
definitely
try
gonna do-
those.
So-
And I brought unmedicated ones because no one likes to just chow down on an edible. Like you kind of got to
Yeah, you
plan
gotta
for
have
that.
something. You
Yes,
definitely have to
You
plan
gotta
for
plan
it.
for that. So I brought unmedicated yum cookies.
Look at
This
this.
is my original.
stoked.
How I started was baking unmedicated cookies. So you
Oh,
got the
wow.
OG.
I got the
of
OG?
Yes.
This is it.
Oh,
So
yes.
you said it. You started with
I started
Obviously.
out baking.
Okay.
Actually, my shirt that I always
Yum
wear
Cookies
is Yum Cookies
by
by
Steph.
Steph, and that's how I
That's so
started
awesome.
in the cannabis industry. Or not
Okay.
in the cannabis industry. I started in the baking
In the
because
baking industry,
I am from an
okay.
oil and gas background because
Okay.
I'm born and raised in Oklahoma. So
Okay.
everybody either here you work in oil and gas or now cannabis. So,
That's literally where
I
you're at
know.
now.
It's like the two
Or
industries.
is-
Yes.
I'm in both.
Exactly. And so back in like November of 2019, the oil and gas industry started to crash.
Mm-hmm.
And the company I worked for, people would outsource their accounting to us. So
Okay.
we started noticing people kind of drawing back, taking their work back because they were trying to cut corners,
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, you know what? I mean, I love baking. My mom would make cakes out of the home when growing up. So I grew up with
You're all-
baking,
it's in you.
cooking, all of that.
Okay.
My maiden name is Baker, so that doesn't say anything.
Let's go.
I
Let's
know.
go.
So I was like, okay. So it was kind of just born in me, and so I thought, how awesome would it be to bake cookies for a
Right.
living? And so I started just baking cookies out of my home, and my first deal was the Cascia Hall Christmas Walk. I baked all these cookies. I set up my little booth, and still to this day, I use that same little booth as my pop-ups. So when you see me out there with
If it
my
ain't
little
broke, don't
my little
fix it.
denim skirt on my
Yes.
that's my
All right, guys,
yes,
shout out
yes.
when you see her out there. And let me tell you, she's
Yes.
evolving so much.
I'm
when
telling
you see her,
you,
though,
yes.
just know that's the OG.
That
on
was
there.
the OG, my OG skirt, and I always
Okay.
feel self-conscious about it. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. So, but I started just baking out of my home, and so my husband is a firefighter.
Okay.
And so he loves to cook as well. And so eventually he's tired of flour everywhere and cookies and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I'm going to buy you some commercial ovens. And I'm like, okay.
Commercial ovens.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
go.
So I'm like, let's go. So being
Kitchen
a
upgrade.
yeah, being in the fireman world, everybody has a hookup. So he
Yes.
put the word out. We need some commercial ovens. Sure enough, there was a fireman that owned a dispensary that had just bought all of these ovens and the whole baking, like the pans, the racks, everything, because he was going to try to make edibles for his
Okay.
dispensary. And so he's like, dude, you can have these. I'll sell these to you. You got it. So I was like, okay, well, me being, green to all the whole baking, small business stuff, I thought I could just build out my dining room into like a little commercial kitchen. But no, that goes
Yes,
against
that
the
goes,
health department rule.
Ah, the meatloaf.
I know. So I was like, so then we started looking for a little place to build out. Well,
Okay.
in the meantime, the guy who owned the dispensary said,
Mm-hmm.
would she be interested in making cannabis cookies? And at the time, I'm working at my oil and gas job,
Mm-hmm.
to plugging numbers, counting everybody else's money. And I got off the phone with my husband, and I was like, man, he just asked me if I wanted to bake cannabis cookies.
Right.
And they all turned around and said, you should do it. And I was like, what?
Uh-oh.
And so I'm like, okay,
That lit the
let me
spark.
think about it. And
Okay.
so I started researching and to try to figure out, how would I do this? And first I took him my original cookie, and
The OG.
I met him, and he looked at that and he goes, I would pay $20 for this cookie if it had cannabis in it. And I was like, what? And I'm like
right. That's a
selling
big
those for
cookie.
like $3.
Yeah,
So
this is-
I'm like,
This
hold
is a
on.
big cookie right here.
Yes.
This is good. I'm
I was
excited
like,
to eat this damn thing.
I'm thinking, okay, let me
Okay.
do the math. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, I think I can do this. And so I literally started watching videos. I got books. I started reading. I figured
Okay.
it all out. I mean, I had to learn from the beginning of like decarbing the marijuana, making it in the butter. So, and I chose
Oh, you went the
Kerrygold.
whole way.
I did the
like
old
that.
school
Okay,
method.
okay.
So I decarb first for 2 hours. It's a very lengthy process. So 2 hours decarbing. Then I would go slow roast my butter, my cannabis in my butter, and I would use Kerrygold organic grass-fed butter because it's rich with all the
Yes, it
fats and
is.
it would like
Yes,
soak
it
up all the
is.
plant material. So once I did that, then I would have to strain it, using my hand, squeezing it out, straining it, and I made my butter sticks.
If you've never done it, guys,
It
it is
is-
a tedious
Oh my
task.
gosh, it is such a process.
But I mean,
Yes.
what we've grown to now that helps to
Yes.
simplify. Like you said, you
Yes.
started in one way, and now I'm
Yes.
sure that's evolved.
It
now,
has
right?
evolved. Well, no, I was doing it that old school method the whole time. This whole time, I would
Wow.
buy my cannabis, I would make it into butter, then I would bake my cookies with the butter sticks that I made. And so I used my original recipes and just substituted out with the can of
Okay.
butter. And then I'd put a little bit extra richness in there because it's like baking with baked like brown butter. So it's a little bit drier butter. And so
Okay.
now it's like I got to add some more fats in, but made my recipes.
Just don't
to-
tell them everything.
I know,
Hey,
I'm not
guys,
gonna tell you
listen,
my
she can't
magical
give you all-
recipes.
I can give you
Yes.
all the details
No,
of it.
no. Yes.
You explained now the new partnership. Congratulations on that. Like, this is just
Thank
compounding
you.
greatness on top
Oh
of
my
each
gosh.
other, right?
I am like so honored to work with Chef Joey because he is really chefy and he's taught me so many good things.
I love that word, chefy.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
really
Yes.
chefy.
And he
They're
really
chefing it up. I like
he
the chefy.
cares about his products. He loves
Shout out Chef
how
Joey.
Yes, he's amazing and he's taught me a lot about FICO because
Mm-hmm.
obviously I didn't work with FICO, and he's very particular about the FICO, what types of terpenes are in it,
Nice.
and the strain specific. And I mean, he is all about cannabis, and then having the chef background to go hand in hand. I mean,
Helps.
it's the perfect combination. And I love that he's particular because,
Yeah.
like you, obviously, if I'm gonna have a window, I don't want some ratty looking
There
cookie
better be something in
there.
that window.
Yes, and so he can make sure that happens. But
Yeah.
I've been doing this all by myself this whole time.
Wow.
And what is really funny is when I met Icy Melts at Kush 420 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I also met Chef Joey, and in
wow.
my
Fast forward. Let's
yes,
go.
and so in my head, I thought Yum needs to be under the umbrella of Delta Oil.
Okay. And
Yes.
now?
And so now,
And guys, let me tell you again, the shirt was not scripted. These two
Yes.
being guests at the exact time
Yes.
today was not
Yes.
scripted.
Right.
And then, the story on
Yes.
that back end, again, not scripted.
No.
This is just that synergy that when good things start to, cultivate, they start to get
Yes.
around each other. And
Yeah.
that synergy is just very electrifying. And that's what's
Yes.
happening right now. And so,
yeah.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Carollo, and I am with Yum Sweet Leaf Cookies. We are baking some cookies today, so come on in and check out my kitchen. We have a batch of Yumalish chip going right now. So we've already mixed the butter together. We've added all of the wet ingredients. We're going to toss in some flour and get these cookies going. All right, these are our mini Fico cookies made with birthday cake strain. The Fico oil is provided by Delta Oil Co. And these are the Yummalish chip flavor, so they are super delicious. They're like your traditional chocolate chip cookie, but they're in mini forms. So we are testing these at 10 milligrams each. You'll get 5 in a pack, so it would be like a 50 milligram pack. So a little 5-pack. These are more my dose, like the low dose patient. So I'm hoping a lot of people will enjoy these for either their nighttime treat or microdosing all day long. We're so excited to be partnering with Delta Oil Co. to put our Fico in these cookies so we can scale our business a little. These tested at 8.56 milligrams. We were shooting for 10. The Fico cookie looks more like your normal cookie. Those of you that have had Yum Sweet Leaf cookies in the past that are made with the canna butter, I know you're getting some footage of that green butter, but that's what makes my cookies have that green tinge. They still taste great, and they taste like fresh flour too. These with the Fico, Fico is more of a brown color, so it really complements the look of the cookie and the cookie dough. Full spectrum, so you get all the medicinal benefits, all the cannabinoids, terpenes, everything. And you can look at my COA. The big terpene that popped in this one was humulene, which is an appetite suppressant. And we'll be right back, and I'll make some bigger chocolate chip cookies for the higher dose patient. So what we're making now is the Yummalish chip, which is made with our canna butter. And the canna butter is orange flambe strain, which was grown by Bud, Sweat, and Tears. So we just make these dough balls a little bit bigger. Actually, those minis that I made are this dough ball broken into 5 pieces. This is your full serving. And so the orange flambe strain is really unique because it actually smells like oranges when you open the package. It's like, ooh, yes. There we are. Okay. Thank you for visiting the Yum Sweet Leaf Kitchen today. I enjoyed baking with you, so we'll see you soon. Right.
We're going to get ready to take a quick break here in just a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on. Just.
It's hard to put him down, I'm telling you.
Where's the chocolate chip?
Did you guys get, the cookies and cream? Oh my gosh. Yes.
Sorry. Listen, that video.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the butter, we were cutting
that's
that.
what I mean. Yes. Okay. So the canna butter is how I started. And so you can see how green the canna butter was in that video. So needless to say, that would kind of transfer into my cookies, and they would have a green tinge. So my beautiful window, which would like showcase my cookies that had a little green tinge, but I'm like, at least you know the cannabis is in there, right?
Right. I mean, that's the first thought.
Yes, yes. And so, and it does have a cannabis flavor, and it is a little bit of a green flavor because it's like the real green plant cannabis.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes. Full spec.
yes, full spectrum and strain specific.
That's
so
a key part right
that
there.
That is what I believe in 100%. And so I started out, I thought, well, everybody knows these strains, that strain. Like Granddaddy Purple was one of my first. And I thought everyone knows what that is. Well, then I changed my box so that we put a little spectrum on there. I don't know if you can see it. It's this little colored barcode, and it starts with stimulating to sedating. And so I mark that for the patients now because there's so many strains out now.
Yeah.
So you don't know. Like
You
Granddaddy Purple, you're like, oh, it's an indica, it's sedating. I know what that one does. But now you get like Asahi Gelato. Well, what the heck is that? Well, my Asahi Gelato is more stimulating. So I mark it on the box because I think of like, what if it was my mom and she wanted to buy a cookie that is going to help her sleep at night, and then she gets a sativa and is like off her rocker all night long. So that's why I'm trying to.
And it's long lasting as well, being an edible.
Yes,
So
it does last.
like the effects are a lot
long
different,
time,
right?
For
And so,
sure.
yeah, way to
Yes.
be so thoughtful. And I think that's one of the other great things about a lot of the entrepreneurs into the industry, especially the people we're having on our show. They're really passionate about their part of what they're bringing to the market. And so I just think that's super amazing, your thoughtfulness of the end user, right? And that really helps for the education so they can continue to have the product.
Well,
right?
and in line with that, my flap, I pretty much wrote a small novel here. And I've come to find, I think people really don't read it, but if you ever find, the chance to read my 10 paragraphs, I just want to explain to the customer or the patient, like, what you're getting yourself into. Like, I don't want
okay.
you to take this lightly. Like,
Yum
you're about to
Sweet
have an
Leaf
experience.
cookies are
Yes.
handcrafted in small batches with the highest quality ingredients. This results in a rich and decadent treat. Our canna butter is made by slow roasting whole plant cannabis and organic grass-fed butter. This method provides full spectrum infusion and creates the entourage effect. This allows your endocannabinoid system to access the full range of the active compounds, including THC, CBD, medically beneficial minor terpenes, and flavonoids.
Yes, yes. Happy birthday, Uncle Bob.
Happy birthday, Bob.
And 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, 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 test. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Drummer was needing some. He's got his headset.
Yeah, he's got control over it.
Yeah. There you go. World domination.
Yeah. Some of mine. Here's some of mine. Hey, Jason, here's some of mine. Would you like to hear the bass? Jason, would you like to hear the bass, please? Hey, Jason.
We're the Stylies,
Oh,
y'all.
wow. I'm crispy. You can turn me into my mom personality if you like. Hey, chickie, chick, 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 chick. Yeah, that's good. Hey, perfect.
Feeling so high, I wanna know. Won't you come out to play? It's a nice day. What do you say? Come out to play, come out to play. Feeling alright, sometimes things that way. Happy to stress down there. It's gonna be alright. Sometimes things that way. Happy to stress down there. We're gonna make things So y'all doing all right? All right, let's get into the Bob, shall we?
How are your bellies?
Feeling all right, how about you?
Your belly's good?
My vocals are good, I can hear myself, I can hear you, I can hear the crowd.
Your belly, is it full? Is your belly full? Forget your troubles and dance. Forget your weakness and dance. Forget your sorrow and dance. Ready for but be hungry. An angry mom is an angry mom. A better fool but the dirty tough. The butter cook, but the human enough. An angry mom is an angry mom. A better fool, but the dirty tough. The butter cook, but the food not enough. A better fall, but the dirty tough. Hey, we're shocking to your music. Shocking. Shocking to your music. Shocking. Cost of living gets so high, rich and poor, they start to cry. Now the weak must get strong and say, oh, what a tribulation. Belly full of the hungry. An angry mom is an angry mom. The rain of fall, dirty touch. The butter cook, but the food not enough. The rain of fall, dirty touch. The snow will fall, but the dirty touch. The ice will melt, but the dirty touch. An angry mom is an angry mom. touch you, I breathe so deep. My world of bubbles, your honeysuckles. Just feel the beat and hold on tight. Hey, when we go, I wanna go. I just wanna hold your hand. Hey, we beat, it's gonna be alright. Hey, it's too late, gonna do it. You don't understand. Hey, it's gonna show, 'cause I wanna know, 'cause I wanna dance all night. You guys give us electricity right now on the guitar. I just wanna hold your hand. Hey, make it beat. When I say tell us stop. Hey, I'm usually late. I don't do it. Girl, I understand. Hey, your show, 'cause I wanna know, 'cause I wanna dance all night. Thank you guys.
I don't know about you, but sometimes life just exudes a great amount of pressure. And I feel like I'm under that pressure. But nobody's paying attention. Hey Jason, I like your shirt. He's a very handsome man.
What's up, y'all? Hey, it's Bob Marley's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr.
That's a big deal. We're so honored. We're so glad to be here. I'm just saying what's up to Sasha, of course, Donnie, everybody here at the venue Shrine, legendary venue, one of our favorite stages in Tulsa to play. We're the Stylies, bringing reggae music worth your while. Y'all feeling all right?
Here's a song.
When I roll around town, yeah, people's heads hanging down. And I ask myself why don't they look to the sky? So much weight on their mind. The truth is so hard to find. I need it, you need it. That's why I'm playing and I say, life under pressure. Life under pressure. Life under pressure. Life under pressure. the obstacles, removing them one by one. Don't let them break you down, and don't let them push you around. I'm saying, I'm praying, that's why I say, life under pressure, life under pressure, life under pressure, life under pressure. Pressure we got to remove. This is a righteous groove.
Oh man, welcome, 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 guys. Happy Wednesday, happy midweek. I'm Perry Jones III, your host, and I have a special selection for you tonight. This is a great time leading with Women's Month. Happy Women's Month right now. I've got one of the top leading ladies in our state with us, along with her partner, because these two are a Batman and Robin, or a Catwoman. Is it Bat? Y'all know what I'm trying to say. So, guys, welcome, welcome. We have Tara. And we also have Andrew of Sherweed Forest, as well as 024 Creative. And so, guys, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for coming, man. I'm
excited.
so excited. I am so excited. So, let's go right into it. This is a beautiful thing. You guys are very well known within the state for hosting magnificent events. The whole concept of what you started was amazing. But before we get into how people know you, let's go into who you are so they can get to know you, if you don't mind. So let's go with the start of this whole endeavor into the industry right now. Can you guys give me a little bit about who you are and how we got started in this bad boy?
Cool. Yeah, I'll start. So I was an esthetician for about 11 years.
Okay.
I specialized in eyelash extensions. And yeah, the pandemic hit, and single mom too. I wasn't allowed to work, and I was like, what am I going to do? And I kind of saw what was open at the time, and it was cannabis still.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm just kind of ready. I was just kind of burnt out at the time, and applied for a couple jobs and got picked up by Sublime. And then sold for them for about 6 months, and then kind of found my way into media. I worked for a team called Green Social for a little bit, and then I worked as a brand ambassador for Ox, and then got picked up by Herbage Magazine. And then that's where I met Andrew, and then that's just kind of like my history in the cannabis space, and just kind of been in sales most of the time.
Listen, let me tell you, that right there was a timeline. Right there, and that was a brief. That was a memorized.
Mm-hmm. It's been memorable. Let me tell you.
That's a huge range to go as well,
Yeah.
Tara. To start from a sales rep, right, getting in, making phone calls, and then all of a sudden now you're touring the state representing a brand. Then you get picked up by another brand. Then you get picked up by a publication, and then you end up meeting and getting into creative with Andrew. So that's no small feat. Congratulations, young
Thank
lady.
you.
That's super awesome, and that speaks testaments to your work ethic and your dedication and actually will to go for what you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get it into creative. And so, Andrew,
Appreciate it.
she leads up to doing that. Let's go into it, boss. Come on.
He's got a good story. He has a good story. I'll let him tell you.
I wish mine was as smooth as that.
I mean, that was his butter right there.
Yeah. Mine's more of a circumstance. I've always been in creative work.
Okay.
For about 12 years, I ran a brand making screen prints of graphic designs.
Oh, okay.
Like pop culture type artwork that I would
Nice.
or call it, momentary art, art
Okay.
of the moment, things people care about at the time, and so got comfortable doing that, in regards to getting a message out to people. And one day, one of my buddies just came by the house. This was right after 788 passed, and he was really weighted with this issue that he had noticed that you can't go to any given dispensary with the general information that we have, like Blue Dream, for example,
Yeah.
and know that that's going to get you the effect or the experience that you had based on, say, last time you had Blue Dream, and that's what made you pursue it the next time.
Familiarity.
As far as the efficacy or the methods that we have to search for cannabis specifically isn't available.
Right.
And so he came to me and wanted my assistance to market that concept or to get the word out to people that we could, together, we could create something locally.
Organically,
Because plants are so, if you create a whole bunch of one cut, 200 plants the same, compared to 20 people making 10 cuts, all different, in different places, different areas, you're going to get 10 different expressions or different variant expressions. So our theory was if we could meet enough people and collect enough of us together and then collect that data and then share that with the patients,
Right.
they would have more option and variance and control over their experience.
And an easier access point too, because now you only have to go to one source, and even though there's so many licenses and so many businesses, this kind of slims it to a trusted local resource, and so that's a great concept.
Or
right
a team
there.
or a community
Yeah.
or whatever it is, So we don't know what that is, so we start with, we do different things. We do events, we created our agency, so whatever it might be to connect people, because it's going to be a long-term, game to get us all together and then in the right direction and to even create that kind of data resourcing that we would need.
Yeah.
So for us, it's
Wow.
just surviving in the marketplace with the skills that we have, with the friends that we have, long enough to see it to the end, or whatever, or maybe we won't, or we can pass it along to the
We're in
next
that
people.
season,
That's the
right?
end goal.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
end goal. I like that. Wow, that's a great concept. And I think it's just beautiful that, the first thing that I hear out of there is that for both of you, you're people oriented. So you're doing your people first and in giving your services and your resources to allow others to make better decisions for themselves with your networks. And that's a beautiful showing right there. So it's no small feat, number one, to be an entrepreneur. Let alone to just carve another niche within niches, right? And you take your skill set and you're wanting to apply it in a way that is unorthodox, right? And so many kudos, like accolades. I want to give you guys all the correct adjectives, but my mind only comes to about 4 because I was medicated earlier. So, but you guys are killing the fucking game. That's what I fucking say there.
We're tired,
The
but
passion in there because if you guys don't follow, you should go and check it out at 024 Creative. All their handles. They're going to put them in here in a little bit, but the origins of that story is absolutely amazing. Like, thank you guys for being forward thinking and doing that. Let's go now into, because that kind of gives us a little bit about who you guys are, how we got into the cannabis industry in Oklahoma, and while we're on there right there, what do you think about the current plane of the cannabis industry? I mean,
Well,
it's a tough
leaving
climate.
yesterday, I'm
Yeah.
a little sad.
Okay.
I was really hoping that we would get 820 to pass because I just believe in access to all.
Okay,
That's
okay.
my whole thing. I have a kid with autism, and so he medicates, and so I just think about how so many people would be open to that now that it's recreational. There's so many people that don't get their cards because they don't want to put their information out there. And so there are so many things out there. Was it the best bill? No. Do I think Oklahoma always writes the best bills? Absolutely not.
Right.
But it's a little discouraging right now, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that we're talking about the vote for those that don't know. Yesterday was the vote that a lot of people have been on. If you're within the industry, you would know. But for those that don't know, it was a vote for the state to have recreational or adult use, free access for all. Within 90 days is when I believe that would happen.
Yeah.
Is how the bill was doing that, and it did not pass. And so that's actually really a precedent that a vote. We're not going to go into. 'Cause I don't know the correct term on there, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so that's when I asked about the plane of the cannabis industry, and the first thing is that. And so, Andrew, tell me yours real fast. What do you think about the plane of the cannabis industry at this moment?
I mean, I think kind of it's showing itself as a new industry in a positive way is what I see. So when we're with brands that we're not banging our heads with their philosophy, when we sit down and 4 months ago we made a plan on packaging and we made a plan on what dumps at 6%, what dumps at 4%, why are we growing this? And if all those things are in line, most of the time those brands are relatively happy, you know, or at least, or they're at least making it, or they're at least thinking to the next chapter, where people who have negated some of those things and have just relied on initial hype or initial namesake or whatever category or a specific thing that they had in the market at the time that was special, most of them are more frustrated because they don't have a voice in a smaller marketplace, you know. So it's hot and cold. You know, one day we're with somebody and it's
somebody's doing really well, and the next day somebody else is not doing so well. So it's very touch and go right now.
And there's no way to categorize that as far as like we'll go into a huge facility and everything, you know, multiple millions of dollars facility, and they'll tell us, we just laid off a third of the workforce a couple of days ago.
Right.
And you go to another one, and it's just a little row of like a former chicken coop, you know, that someone's converted. And
super small.
Yeah, and that guy's just loving life, and he's ready to drop, you know, donkey butter number 9, and that's what he's talking about, you know.
Yeah.
So there's definitely not a scope of size of business that dictates that.
Right.
But it's almost like we're surprised by the hot and cold because you never know.
Yeah, you just never know.
I feel the same for both, right? So we have, number one, we have the most recent of the vote happening, and, I'm not into politics, I'm into patience. And
same.
Regardless of how we go with it, I think, the end result is the end result. But what's beautiful is that that's not the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's as laws happen, like I use this analogy often. It took 15 years for prohibition to happen for alcohol. And so if we could even kind of go into a mindset of, oh, well, this was like this for X amount, and then here, that's how I view that. And I know that for the state of Oklahoma, let alone the country,
it's all
like we're it's businesses, and most as entrepreneurs, it may not be like you guys are doing now, not just Sherwood, not just 024 Creative. It's multiple things that you're trying to fix into the market or your marketplace, and it's ongoing because whatever the market's going to dictate, we're going to be able to try to gravitate to and help a small community.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
There's still opportunity.
Oh, there's
Exactly.
so
much opportunity.
I think that's and then that goes back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
My opinion in that realm is that I love the fact, personally, I think like how we started the industry was absolutely amazing. Like, I mean, personally, I think the fact that you allow the opportunity of an old school land run, that's what Oklahoma was based on. It's like, yo, you got it. Go try it,
show us.
right? Like, let's see us. And
Yeah,
then
it's
give everybody
cheap
the
and-
opportunity because it's like, not only is it cheap, but now it's that test for the person. Like you said, a chicken coop, like, I only got X amount and this is all I got left, and I want to try this because I'm just tired of working the said job for so long, and I want to see something different, right? Or I want to apply my gardening skills to this plant, right? And you go from there to a big brand that brings in millions of dollars, and now you've got the fanciest things you've ever seen, right? To a place that's just in the process of transitioning, by creating this new room. They now laid this new slab. They're growing. I think the fact that we started the market in such an open plain is absolutely beautiful compared to the rest of the country. And then now we're getting towards a bottleneck, right? Because if we talk about the politics per se, like the OMMA, it's a state issue. It's an entity.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that doesn't change anything in life. We have we have state entities in all of our facets, from having children to anything. So we know that when it's the government, right? Like we can expect some differences that are not our own personal takes or opinions on, right? Or choices that we would do. And so I think that now having an idea back to like the prohibition time, we have something we're working towards. I mean, we know where it's all going? I don't know, but I know this. We now have, over 300,000 patients.
Yep.
Yeah.
We know that we've got, clinics like the THC2. I think they said 25,000 people off of opiates. Like, you've got autism, you've got the children now not having to be dependent on certain aspects and drugs out there. There's a lot that's happening that, similar to what I believe your guys' mission is you're exposing it.
Yeah.
You're exposing all of those things, similar to the show. We're showing all of these different positive things that are happening rather than just, the big bark of
what we all see every day, you know. And so forgive me for the long-windedness. I love the opportunity to meet and watch people, you know, really like grow out of their cocoons of who they were into who they're going to be, and we don't know. I don't know. You know, I never would have thought I would have been on a TV show, hosting our own TV show or anything when I was selling real estate. Right?
Yeah,
And so I come, my background is from real estate.
Imagine if you had a
commercial
time
and
machine
residential.
and you could go talk to yourself at that,
Right.
at that
It's
point.
like, yo, don't worry about that house.
Yeah.
You're going to do okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, the pressure we put on ourselves by that, I don't want to say false identity. I would just say the unknowing of that identity, and then all of a sudden now you start to see clearly now some things have fallen, and you're like, all right, this is where I want to go.
What's crazy, you'll also see how your life prepared you for these moments.
Right?
You know, like things that you think like, oh, I mean, there'll be clients we're in rooms with that we don't get, and we're like, okay, well, this is the reason why we didn't get them, and it's okay now, you know, and just seeing things for what they are. And being in the beauty industry and having basically my own business, it's just like taught me sales and to talk to people. And I could be in the room with anybody. And then that skill transfers over to now. So you just never know what you're working on.
Yeah.
I always tell people you can like change whatever you want to do in life. Like I could start
the
tomorrow
moment.
being a doctor if I want to go to school. You know, you can literally do whatever you want to. You just have to have the drive and go do it.
For sure. I think that's what's beautiful about America, you know, I mean, and even beautiful about Oklahoma is like, we're the Tulsa, the second shortest commute in the nation. So like, that's really awesome. And then you've got all these incentives to move here with some of these other big things just in the Tulsa area. But the state itself, it's the middle of the country.
Yeah.
Like, we now have international flights. Like,
Finally can go straight to one spot without
yeah,
stopping.
we don't,
What?
there's
You
no
don't
more
drive to Oklahoma City?
layovers. You know, don't
Yeah.
have to go to the city or Dallas. But then at the same time, 4 hours in a car, not that bad of a
No.
drive to be completely different, whether you're in Texas, Kansas, Missouri, you know, Arkansas, right? And I feel like that the fact that we have so much access to see the differences, even in our own state, Oklahoma and Oklahoma City, completely different places, right?
Yeah.
I think like if you hit Highway 44, once you transfer over a couple of places, I'd say, what is it?
By the time you hit that
Wellston,
the Highlander,
maybe?
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
the same.
Island, you hit the
That-
island.
I was gonna say that Highland Dairy, you know, or
Oh
or,
yeah, the
that's
Highland
what I was
Dairy
saying,
out
yeah,
of
like-
what is that? Stroud, I
Yeah,
think is where
close,
that is.
yeah.
Right. Once you hit there, that changes the whole. You know, you're in the west side of the state almost, and so and it's nothing bad. I just say that in the tune that there's so much diversity and variety that we get an opportunity to become a part of, and that's really cool. And I think also with what you guys were doing with Sherwood, kind of let's go into that now. Like,
Yeah.
I'd love to learn. For those that don't know what Sherwood Forest is, would you go into what that production is, what the premise of it is? What is that for?
Yeah, so the Throwdown Bazaar is what we call
That's it, the
actual
Throwdown Bazaar.
event. Throwdown.
I love the
Bazaar,
name.
yep.
I love the
You're there
name.
to throw down.
Yes.
Throwdown.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah, it's a shoppable cannabis market. We were going to cannabis events. Tara was with Herbage when we first started that, so she was our kind of distribution wing for our
Okay.
posters, and so we had a wide scope of. We knew every event that was going on in the state at the time. And we just decided that there was this hole, you know, where not everyone could attend the events that were happening.
True.
Good or bad, better or worse. We just wanted to create one that reflected our families, you know, what we go home to. We both have children. We envisioned this this atmosphere where you could bring everyone or anyone, because we believe that cannabis is for everyone.
Truth.
And so
Truth.
when we created the marketplace, we didn't want to build restrictions around that concept. So before we even built it, that was kind of rule number one, I guess you would say.
Okay.
Is that it had to be two things. We wanted it to feel like a cannabis event. So when you attend and people in the industry wanted the industry to accept it as an event, as an option within events for the industry. But when you attend it as a patient, we wanted it to feel like something very different that you could bring anyone to. Your children, we have people coming with like air machines, or someone DM'd Tara one time because they needed to know if the nanny could come, because she was coming with the child for medical reasons to like
Nice.
assist
Like
them.
the caregiver?
The caregiver,
Okay,
but they didn't
okay.
have their card yet, for example. And so that, they hadn't thought that they could do that they could come to something like that. So they were asking permission, basically.
Wow.
So we wanted that as the foundation. After we created, that's it. That's all we thought.
Okay.
But then once
Beautiful.
we put that into the industry, what the industry gave back to us was the opportunity to work with the dispensary with 0% markup. In the best case scenario. Sometimes, there's been variances. We've done it, I would just say a low markup or a minimal markup. In the best case scenario, no markup at all. In every other case, the minimal that dispensary
What you can
can
do.
afford to do
Correct.
at that time, depending on the situation. So what it created is a marketplace that everyone can go to, and then the access is evened out. The playing field is no longer
Separated.
You're not
We're
having
not
to
segregating
choose.
things.
Not having to choose a product. I don't want to call a product subpar, but something different because of it's a budget product, and the person who has a need isn't matching the budget product.
Yeah.
What their need is something different. They need an RSO. They need a FICO. They need a stimulant, or they need a topical. Whatever they might need specifically. What it created was the opportunity to forget about price, take your $5 or your $10, your budget, and apply it to what you just need.
What you need.
Yeah. So you can walk up directly to the person who made that product.
Get an introduction, really see the brand, the product, everything hands-on,
Yeah.
and then make a decision right there, and then have the lowest entry point for that
Yeah.
price point for that
Yeah.
medicine
Yeah.
at that time.
Right. And granted, it doesn't create a long-term opportunity, but what we hope is, as a seasoned consumer, you might, something you and I might realize is, oh wow, I could buy a more potent product, or one that's more aligned with my terpene, something
Yeah.
that I'm wanting, something that's more myrcene based or
Yeah.
limonene based or beta caryophyllene, and you might not know those things, but when you try the one that your nose knows, and you take that one home, you have a different experience,
Yeah.
even a seasoned
Yeah.
consumer.
Yeah.
And so
When you start to isolate those things and you find what the medicine is that you're taking, and you're
Yeah.
actually really going into your medicine and taking your health into your hands, you get now more opportunity to talk with individuals and the reasons why, so you know what you're getting, as opposed to, I would call it consumer shopping, right? Like
Yeah.
we all become that
Yeah.
right
it's
after.
a retail environment at the end. Yeah.
Even as simple as just like the difference between like live resin and rosin. Some people can't afford rosin, but maybe that day you can try it and see why you do like it a little
Correct.
bit more. There's just so many different variants for that. But yeah, just access to all. And it's sensory friendly. We try to keep the music down. It's not super loud. You're not allowed to smoke within the event, so you can bring whoever you want to.
Nice, okay.
I've had my family come, my kids have come, and then I do like a bouncy house. Usually we usually have a
the
face
kids?
painter. We
Yeah.
kind of it's almost, I describe it as like a farmer's market.
Okay.
Basically. So we bring in artists, we bring in food vendors and all that kind of
You
stuff.
really make an event that, like you said, anybody can come to at any time.
Yep.
And then while you're attending that event, you're also getting direct access to not only the medicine, but the medicine makers.
Yeah.
And then you get an opportunity to meet them. For those that have not been to expos before, I feel seasoned now because I've done it for the last 5-7 years now. But I remember when I didn't go to one, I didn't know what it was. And it's like, it is a big undertaking when you don't know what to expect when you pay for this ticket. And
Yeah.
it's behind closed doors. You walk to this Coliseum and you're just like, yes, cannabis, go in. What is
Okay,
this?
yeah,
And you've got
yeah.
rows and people, and
Like
then it's just
MJ
like,
or something, yeah.
MJ.
Get the best sticker collection you've ever had.
Yeah.
And so then you're like, oh, don't forget the bag. Get your lanyard.
Yeah.
And so once you've attended those, that becomes a different type of event going, right? And then when you marry what you guys are doing to a more local, organic, wholesome, all-inclusive, doesn't necessarily make it about business, right? I think that changes the scope, and that's a really cool thing to do. I have attended one of the events, and I loved it. I thought it was a great atmosphere
I thought seeing all of the families together and then the animals, like, I mean, it's literally.
Yeah, we had cats one time.
You know, it's no pun intended. Theirs is definitely an organic event and environment. It is an Oklahoma really special place, and I think there's nothing like it. I think it's super awesome, and that's coming from a person who, like I said, I've attended cannabis events, the events in general. I love events. I love people. I love getting around the atmospheres and seeing creativity. So going from the business side of it to the personal side, and as we know, the business side has always tried to turn personal with a party or two in between there, but it doesn't make it to where you are the consumer, right? And this take of being a consumer first it's a really great take, because as an entrepreneur, we don't get to be the customers. We have to be the bosses. Everybody wants to be a boss.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. It's cool.
We go to those
until you don't want to do it.
We'll make our way to those parties as well. You know?
Right? I don't mind them.
We'll fall down the hill with everybody else and find out what happens down there.
Yes.
That's fine. But
yeah, it's been great. We have our next one coming up is on April 8th in the city, in Oklahoma City. We kind of took a break for a minute because we started 24 Creative, and it's a lot to do events every month, and so just kind of took a break. And our next one will be April 8th with Nature's Kiss in the city.
Okay.
So it'll be fun. We're excited.
I'm excited for you guys. How many have you guys done total? And then the next, how many do we have planned for the year?
So this next one coming up is 10, our 10th.
Nice. That speaks volumes. That means that we went through some shit.
We went through some shit.
We went through
definitely
some shit,
been through some.
Whenever you try to make a model out of something that's never been done before, and also during the time of metric being implemented, and having the different regulations
That
and like
changes it all
how
the
you
time,
bring in product and how you transfer product back. There's been a lot of like those issues, and that's just us just trying to figure out how can this work, how can we give this to the people, and we're just trying our best every day. Luckily now on the 10th one we've got it down.
Nice.
Nature's Kiss has been amazing. They've got it all situated, we're ready to go, so we're really lucky to have partners that are just like, let's do it, that we want to do this.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so now this one in April is going to be the 10th one. 10.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Y'all get down there for this one.
Yeah.
And you said that's in the city. You did do some in Tulsa before.
Home is
Most of
Tulsa.
them are here.
Home is in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And that's awesome that you're branching down there to do that.
Yep.
Home away from home,
Yeah.
OKC. How many do we have after this one? Do we have one planned for Tulsa coming in the summer or anything like the fall?
We have a potential mirroring event with Nature's Kiss as well.
Okay.
We kind of have considered that. We want to make sure this goes and is beneficial for everybody.
Shout out Nature's Kiss. They
yeah.
just expanded down in the city. And
exactly.
Yeah,
so,
they're great people,
yeah.
and we're going to be doing, they're going to be just an incentive to get there, they're going to be doing an ounce of rosin giveaway.
Yep.
Ounce of
Fresh
rosin.
press.
Fresh press. You
Yeah.
get to pick the cut out of
Yeah.
the options that they just pressed.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Get a big
Yeah.
gigantic.
Well,
is that even a
no,
baller
that-
jar anymore when it's that size?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't. What's bigger than a baller?
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what.
Shot
Maybe they're going to
collar?
call them a shot collar jar.
Yeah, right?
Shot collar jar.
That's a huge incentive
That's
to get there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, what do you got? I got the shot collar. What?
Yeah.
You got that new shot collar?
Yeah,
I
tell
think
Luke could
that'll
probably
be-
do it. He'll probably
That'll
put
be
that on there.
something right there.
They
Hey,
make all their own
you
labels.
heard it first here, guys. So
Yep.
that's what we're going to see about that product in the market out there. I like that.
28 grams of fresh press. So everybody
Holy
who
gee,
makes a
Jillikers.
purchase, your receipt number enters you.
No matter what
Okay.
amount you're purchasing, as long as you purchase from the bazaar, that you'll be entered.
That's what I was going to ask. So,
Yeah.
how does one get to the event? Is it a Eventbrite? Like, would you explain how a person new would be able to attend
Yeah.
the event? Like, walk us through that.
Okay, so the dispensary is a separate location, so we have to have an event venue for this. So it's the venue at
Crew.
Crew. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's close to downtown Oklahoma City. Really cool spot. We're gonna have Mimosa Creek there doing different types of, what do they actually call them? Mocktails.
Mocktails,
Yeah.
Mocktails,
Cannabis
okay.
mocktails.
Got some mocktails
CBD
going on,
type
okay.
stuff. And then, so basically you go and shop the market, you can go and check it out, and then you go to the dispensary to purchase. So
Okay.
they'll also have like an app service there is what they're going to be probably using, like a Dutchie, and being able to place
Where
your
they
order
can
right
order
there.
right there.
Yep.
And then you
Nice.
go, it sends you an alert, your order's ready to go pick up, just go by the dispo and pick it up, and that's it.
And
It's
you
pretty
pay
easy.
at the dispo and you're set,
Yep.
right?
No card needed. Our event is free to come, bring your family, great parking, yeah.
Nice. For those that don't know, this is going to be awesome. So just a little recap. You're going to be able to see this event, go to it, take whoever you have with you, walk this market. As you're walking the market, you're smelling, you're seeing, you're meeting. Then you're able to go, hey, I kind of like that. Let me go ahead and pull up the app, if they have the app, or the call, however that business would
Yeah,
defer
we'll
that,
release
right?
before
More
we-
than like,
yeah.
awesome. And then from there, you could continue to shop and then go on your way home,
Yep.
stop at the dispensary, and you're
Yep.
ready to go.
It's just from, what did we decide, 11:30 to 1?
Yeah.
Oh, and that's a
Yeah,
great time
11 to
frame.
1:30, I think.
11 to
Sorry.
1:30. Yeah.
11 to 1:30. So
Yeah.
that's what, 2.5 hours? That's
Yeah.
not-
Yep.
That's a quick Saturday. Is
Yeah.
it on
Yeah.
a Saturday? That's
It
the
is on a
question.
Saturday,
It is on
exactly.
a Saturday.
We wanted to mirror somebody gave us good advice. We used to do it later and longer, and somebody was like, well, really on Saturdays, people have kind of like done their whole like brunch thing, and they're looking for somewhere else to go, and if you
Yeah.
don't catch them in that time frame, and that's what we've realized. So
Oh,
then they
that's a
come
great
and they're-
strategy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
That is
and
a,
keep it quick.
Yep.
Make
Yeah.
an incentive to come, because
Yep.
you don't want to sit around there for an hour before. You know how events go. Like the first hour is kind of dead, and then all of a sudden it picks up. So incentive to get there.
And then the other part of those events, for those that don't know events, you may be waiting in there all damn day.
Yeah.
And the ass end of that day, it effing sucks.
Everybody's
I'm just
looking
saying,
on their
You're
phones
looking
and
at
It's
your
so much
phone.
anxiety.
There's nobody
Yeah.
walking through.
I'm
People are
passing
like,
out free Phillies
You're
to
giving
the
things
vendors.
out.
or-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is the time where you try to fill bags. I call this the Halloween opportunity
Mm-hmm.
because it's like Oprah. Hey, you get a sticker. You
Yeah.
get a bag. Like, get this out because I don't want to carry this in the car or
Yep.
whatnot. And so, man, I love that. That is a great concept. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait for you guys to. Actually, first off, we're going to go to the city in April. That's what we're
Nice.
going to do. We're going to go check that out. And I think I'm going to try to bring the team and see if we can get some coverage.
Yeah,
and
that'd
see
be
about
great.
that.
Yeah,
I think
come
that-
on out there.
So we can then
Yeah.
show people. So when we have you guys back on,
Yeah.
in the next quarter, we can see the growth of what you
Absolutely.
guys have done and how far the Bazaar is going. You know, let's go into the next phase because you started that. Yeah, that's going awesome. I'm excited for the 10th one. Speaks super much about you. Huge volumes, right? Let's go into the creative. Like, tell us about that right there, because for those that don't follow, I'm a followers of them. I follow them both, and I'm just fanning out right now a little bit because they're very, very creative. They use a lot of different platforms. I like the ingenuity of some of the acts and things. And so, can you go into 024 Creative and
Yeah.
tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, so it was basically started, we kind of just, we paired up for the Sherweed Forest Throwdown Bazaars, and then we were like at a comedy show, and like, I don't know if you're into the universe and stuff, but I swear we were walking out of the door, and I was just like, why are we not doing what we want to do? Because we love marketing these events.
Okay,
This is what
yeah.
we love to do, and I've always loved working for myself. I love having control over things.
Time.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. And so I just said, hey, like, well, let's do this. And he was like, okay, let's do it. So we just made a plan and we just stuck to it and kind of pitched it to a couple people. And we had a brand called Hollow that jumped on. Shout out Hollow. They're amazing.
Shout out Hollow.
Yes. They have rosin pins. They're amazing. But anyways, they took a chance with us and we got to prove our concept.
Okay.
And then we kept getting more business. And we name it 024 Creative because it's 420 upside down. Because we don't want to limit ourselves just to cannabis. Because cannabis, sometimes the market's a little bit different, and we
Truth.
really wanted outside business too.
Yes.
So yeah, our concept is basically following the trends. So we do TikTok trends, we do
Okay.
skits. Andrew does a lot of the skit planning, and so yeah, we just kind of mimic content that's trending right now. Use popular
Nice.
sounds, make sure that we're uploading it in the right time, and then also just putting people's faces out there. A lot of people for brands, they don't put their face out there anymore, and
Yeah.
like people want to connect with you, especially in Oklahoma. So if you can get your story out there and you can say like this, why did you start? Why did you do this? They're going to trust you a little bit more to buy your product or
Yeah.
go to your establishment or whatever. So yeah, I mean, we have a blast. It was just the other day we were in this meeting and a guy from outside Cannabis, everything, we'd never met him before. He doesn't really know who we are. And we're talking about doing this like trade, and he was just like, and I said to him, and I haven't even talked to Andrew about this, but I said to him, I was like, we don't always just do funny, because sometimes I feel like that could be a limitation, because they're like, man, I don't know
They
if I
only
want funny
expect
all the
that.
time, you know?
Right,
Maybe I
right.
want some serious. He was like, no, like that's what is that's what we want. So to think that I can go and act a complete fool with a wig on and create a whole nother character, that I can do that for a living still is surreal to me.
So fun. It's
Yeah.
so fun. I love it. I mean, it's That's why I like doing this show. Like, I feel like you get to learn more about yourself when
Yeah.
you stretch yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And then in those different skills that you have, you don't really know all of those skills. You know some of the things you're good at within them. You know
Yeah.
what you like. But then when you have someone that's like, just be you, and you're like, hold on, you want all of me?
I still
Like,
second
can
guess it
do
sometimes.
That?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this
Yeah.
is what you're going to get. So speak on that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Right? You said you guys follow trends.
Yep.
You're really staying really up to what's happening right now. What platforms are really going? What do you see that's handy trend-wise right now? And then we'll go into what's happening in the future. What do you see happening right now in trends?
Any kind of short form media, anything,
Okay.
and I don't mean time. I just mean the grab is instant and it has to be about every 2 seconds, whatever that grab is. There can't be big lulls of space,
Gaps.
generally speaking. So almost everything is sound generated. There's
Okay.
hardly any muted content. Most people will watch their social medias on mute, until they find the piece of content they want and then unmute it so they
Correct.
can listen to it. So everything is based on. So some of the things I see, random thing I see is people will put a muted trending sound into their content that's not it's not on it. So in other words, it trends with it,
Yes.
So it's like people are getting smart with how they use the trends and how they use the different elements of an in-app development. It seems to be the big thing. So
TikTok is huge.
Yeah.
TikTok is
Building
huge.
those
It's
things
really
in the
taken
apps,
over
yeah.
a lot here
It's
lately,
a new search
right?
engine. Like if I need something, like I was trying to like bake a cake the other day with like a certain ingredient, and I like just looked it up on TikTok.
And TikTok, for
Yeah,
real?
I didn't even go to Google.
They're
I tried to
saying
do the
that.
same
And there
That's
was
what
like
they're
20
saying.
people on there talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they give you videos with it, so it's not
I'm a
just
visual person.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not just a reading anymore. You're literally like fast action. I think like they say us humans have the thought process of a goldfish, right? Or the
Yeah.
attention
Yep.
span of a goldfish. And I
Yep.
think it's shorter now, right? The doc, is it what shorter now? You're the doctor. Is it no? He looks like a goldfish right now. I just caught him. 6 seconds? Okay, it's not
Yeah.
long. Okay.
a little longer. Than
A
the
little
goldfish
longer
still.
than a goldfish, so not shorter than a goldfish.
Yeah, and there's lots of competition.
That's a lot. Yeah, I see that. Okay, I got.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc, for that right there. We got Dr. Sims over there, and so that way you guys will be able to. I go to the trusted resources. We'll go ask questions. I'm gonna ask the expert.
Yeah,
and
ask a
so,
doctor always.
You ask a doctor. He always knows
Yeah.
something, right? And so that's awesome. Okay, so platform number one, TikTok,
Yeah.
and the fact that TikTok is moving so fast. Short content or short version content
Yeah.
is really what it is, and really changing the way the perception of receiving that. So
Yep.
like really manipulating from the sounds to what you're seeing, and then adding those laughs in there, because I mean when you smile, and like you said, you put people in front of the camera when they're smiling, it actually makes you smile when you see the video or
Yep.
what have you. So, oh man, that's super awesome. That is super awesome. Okay, well then let's go into what do you see as far as trends and fads happening going into the future. We're going into the spring, we're going into the summer, not the whole year, just literally as the sun comes out.
Yeah.
What do you guys see kind of happening right now?
A lot of it's what she said, that I think people are being trained, this is my theory, by the algorithm with the voiceovers.
Yeah.
So people are being trained to be comfortable with looking at the camera and just moving their mouth and the way they
And let
look.
it-
And I don't. This might not be a conscious decision, but I just feel like society is being trained to be comfortable with that type of interfacing. And so when you ask about the future,
Yeah.
I think that will lift off. I think the
remove that veil.
having to have the I've got my sale, Chris Farley, or whatever.
Ah.
I can just do it. I can be Chris Farley now.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
make my own Tommy Boy. I can just make my own skit.
Okay.
That's my prediction. Is that, and I don't think that will go away because it's been Dub Smash before that.
Yep.
It's been what was
Yeah.
it? It's
Yep.
been Vine before that. It's I don't mean that
Oh
it'll go
yeah,
away.
vines.
But it just
I
I just
kinda miss
mean that
those.
yeah.
I
those
know.
Are, yeah.
I
Kinda
wish they
fell
would
off.
bring vines back.
I know.
Right?
You never know
Short
what it'll
form.
just zoom up or down. But
It could come back. We can make it a comeback. I mean, listen, I've seen some of your shit, so I think you can regurgitate some of that in
Vine-like, yeah.
Vine-like, and take that back. We definitely need to bring that back.
Yeah.
That would be something right there.
I think also just like being authentic. I think that that's really what's going to push more.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people, the difference between social medias is like the main ones are Instagram and TikTok. And on Instagram, you're pretty polished, you've got it down, you know, you're not going to mess up. And then on TikTok, it's like, I just woke up out of bed and I look like a hot mess.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
Yeah,
record
yeah.
myself. And that's when I get like the most views and stuff like that because it's more personable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
You
exactly.
form that relationship with people. There's girls out there, some men too, that have like 30 million people following. Like it's insane.
So I
They're
was
making
playing
them
basketball with my
crazy
son,
money.
and it was wild. We were at the gathering place, and we were just sitting there playing this game. There's other kids. I mean, you know, I'm no spring chicken. So I got my half game in, and my boy comes over, and he's like, "Yeah, Dad, that's such and such. He's an influencer. He's got, 7 million followers." I was like, "What?" Pulls him up. This boy had like 7.8 million
They're
followers.
making some
on
money
his-
too if they're
He
doing it
was
right.
just sitting here playing
Yeah.
basketball. I was just
Just
like,
normal people.
Yep.
just regular normal
Yep.
people. And so that's awesome to hear that. Like, do you think TikTok's going to stay on the same pace that it is? What about Snapchat? What about LinkedIn? Have you guys thought
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
that?
that's a big one.
YouTube Shorts.
Mhm,
Like,
that's another one.
What are your guys' thoughts on some of these other platforms?
Yeah.
And what you're seeing?
I think they're all chasing the formula of TikTok because everybody chases the lead horse at the time.
Truth.
So yeah,
Truth.
YouTube is doing that with the shorts, and I think those are just as valid as anything else. LinkedIn is great. We've used that for some tools and some
Yeah.
different businesses.
Sweet.
It's great for business to business. Great
Business,
for
Especially cannabis.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meet some people in different states for sure.
That's a good way to expose yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
it's not restricted very much.
No,
if
I've
at
never
all,
gotten
if at all.
flagged.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
It's not as intrusive either. Like you can
Yeah.
literally just message someone in your profile, just really say that
Oh, yeah.
for businesses.
And
So
we
that's
use it for
big.
back end things, like if we want to reach like Liquid Death or
Like
something.
who is
Yeah.
the owner?
You can
just
go dig
on-
around.
You just
yeah.
go out there.
Yeah. I mean, you can Google too,
Truth.
but
You could, but that's a long way.
But I want to find like the media team that's behind
Exactly.
posting these social medias.
Yeah.
I go on there.
We don't want
and
the CEO. We
Yeah.
want the
we want the
that
team.
person. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you two think. You guys are really meshing. That's really cool
Yeah.
to see how
Yeah,
this
we get
this
along
works.
well. We work well
Yeah.
together. Our like what we specialize in is different, but it's also the same, and we have the same interests, and we think the same thing's funny.
Ah.
And if it doesn't, we'll tell each other. We're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't
that
as
one
good as
flopped.
your last one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
And you know what? It takes real friends
Yeah.
to be able to have that real conversation with people. You know what I mean? And that speaks volumes about you two, and then the authenticity of what you two are bringing to the table, right? And so, like, again, thank you both for being here. Thank you
Yeah,
both
thanks for
being
having us.
authentic. I'm so stoked about the event getting ready to come up. You guys make sure April 11th, is it correct?
April 8th.
April
8th,
8th.
OKC.
11:30 to 1:30? No,
11
I
to
said
1:30.
11 to 1:30.
That's
Yep.
it, 11 to 1:30.
Yep.
No, it was a 2.5 hour, Doc, all right? I just got the time messed up.
I'm
you
still
got-
like, is it?
That's where you got
I
the
knew it was
11,
in
though.
there,
You
but
got
I
it.
was like, if you're a vendor, you better be there at 11.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
10.
How's that? See, 10. See, I was there halfway, a quarter, whatevs, you know? And so, Tara, Andrew.
Thank
I
you.
said, hold on, I did that wrong. Doc gets on to me about that all the time. I said, Tara and Andrew. I meant to do it the other way. Tara, Andrew. There we go. Guys, thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. Do you guys have anything to say to the people? That's what I would like. You know, I'm working on endings, guys, and, you know, we're not live. Well, we are live, but I don't have the comments or questions up right now, so I don't know if you guys have any for our guest. But I always wonder, what do we have to say to people besides selling ourselves? Do you guys have anything that you guys want to say to people besides who you are, like messages or any words of encouragement for specific groups or anything that could speak to more about who you are that you want to let them know about?
Yeah, I mean, if you have any questions about pediatric consumption, or you are interested in being a part of Throwdown Bazaar or part of 24 Creative, we would love to be able to chat with you. So just find our handles and reach out. Usually DM is great. We would love to talk with you. I always put that out there. And then also, we're always willing to travel with these concepts. I mean, new states need
Yep.
education, and nobody's really doing it. Even like California doesn't offer the education that we're doing right now. So
No.
we're always open for it.
Let's go. Okay, Andrew, what do you got?
Oh,
I love when the head scratches happen. When you
What
get a
am I
head,
gonna
that's a head scratcher.
yeah. I'll just go with what most recently was in my head. We were talking in a group chat with another friend of ours doing an event, and it was about compromise. And I said, we have to wake up every morning and remember who we are. Lion
Truth.
King, you know.
Love it. One of my
And,
favorite movies. Love it.
you
Speaking
know.
of, also, it's coming to the PAC.
Yes,
Shout out to
I
us
bought
at
my
PAC.
tickets.
Ah.
Taking my kids.
Yes, go. I'm going to take my boys too. Hey, there's a first table bang for those that didn't pay attention.
He said we could
Got
bang
one
the
in
table.
there. He said we could. Obviously not like a tornado, but a little bit. We got a little in there. And so, like, yeah, the compromising. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that.
Do what Mufasa said, you know.
Yeah. You got to do that. You got to do that. So I have the ending. This is how I'm going to start ending shows, guys. We're going to practice this because you know what's cool about this? It's our live show and it's ours. So we can do whatever the hell we want to do. All right. So I have this cool question. I came up with it. I don't even remember where I came up with it, but I think it really speaks to the cannabis and to the people. When did the plant first touch you, Tara?
Oh, man, I was young smoking weed, so. You mean like first experience?
Yeah, like tell us your first experience when that plant touched you. When did it affect your life?
Okay, well, let me talk about whenever I realized that it was actually medical, because I think that's a little bit more profound than smoking in an alleyway or something. It was honestly after I was in the industry for about 2 months, and I started talking to people, and I was like, oh, like this isn't just like a recreation. Like I have been medicating myself for this long, and that's when I decided to make the change. And when I first started meeting people and seeing what it was helping them with, and so that's when I made the change and got my son his card, and then we switched from pharmaceuticals to cannabis.
Let's go. Yeah. And that's a super recent touch. So that's amazing.
It's my
to learn.
2-year mark this February.
Ha, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. That's why I also love how fast our market went, right? Because if you said 2 years, we're going into 5 years. That means 2 years after our market started is when she came in. And it was by way of the whole job transition, the life transition that brought you in. And so that speaks complete volumes about you. Man, Tara, that's so amazing. Andrew, talk to me, buddy. When did this plant first touch you?
I'm going to give you a more recent story as well, just because it's probably the most profound touch version. So kind of what I touched on earlier when some of my buddy came to me and we talked about, plant differentiation.
Yes.
The backstory to that is that we were from Manford, Oklahoma, a little small
Manford,
town,
Oklahoma.
30
Shout
minutes
out
from here.
Pirates.
Yeah.
Manford Pirates.
There you go.
Glory be God, Dancing with the Ladies.
More, there you go. More churches per capita than any other city, in which for better or for worse, created an environment for me, anyways, of not knowing anything, and so we grew up. Me and my buddy grew up together as just kind of totally ignorant to that sort of thing. So we became adults, became known to that. I can tell you that story, but we as adults, he came back to me, and his mom had just found out she had stage 4 lung cancer, and she was going into hospice. She only had like a very brief period of time left, and so he went to Colorado. This was pre-788. He wanted specific cannabis. He wanted one that would be up-regulating and one that would be down-regulating, and he just thought he could get that if he went to Colorado. So he went to Colorado. He met some people. He got some. He decarboxylized it, turned it into brownies, cut it up, and wrote a manifesto for. This is what I think you should do, Mom. I think you should try this one in the morning. Try this one in the evening.
He
kind of created
a program, a regimen.
Tried it on himself a little bit. He put it on the front porch. He didn't even know if it would be received or thrown in the trash. At the top of the note, he wrote, "One bad night. Give me one bad night at the worst case scenario. Try it, have the one bad experience, and then come back and reinforce what you've always told me, that you're right and I'm wrong. And then I can, go about the rest of my life, and I can kind of have that. I need that final reinforcement,
Yeah.
So he left it. He goes back about 10 days later, he tells me, and he goes in, and all of her pills are still very full on the table. And he said, "What do they have, a delivery service? They just keep you topped off like
Keep you stocked up
like a tea at Chili's, or what?" And she said,
"Shout out Tilly and the tea."
And she said, "No, I've been, other than a little bit of morphine in the evening, I have completely bought into your letter. Me and Dad tried it together, and
Man, I love these stories.
and it wasn't one bad night. So as a matter of fact, I have to give you the opposite. I have to say, I was wrong, and you were right. So basically, they were sitting there. A week later, they're watching TV, cooking shows. She's a love cooking, love baking, love homemaking.
I don't know
love-
anybody who
yeah,
doesn't watch
yeah.
cooking shows.
Oh, I
they're
love
watching
it.
those.
Makes me hungry.
Yeah, it definitely makes me hungry, and especially hangry
Yeah.
when I can't make what you just
Yeah.
made. But we'll
Yeah.
go on that another
But
set.
that was the epiphany she had. She was like, "Wait a minute! So it's a fat-based attachment. So it could go in the roast. It could go in the carrots. It could go in. I could make a cake with it. You know, you could medicate with anything. It's
Everything.
not just the thing that you
Anything.
brought me." And and he's a plumber, my buddy,
Okay.
right? So she looks at him and she says, "If there's ever like a gap in the universe and an opportunity that opens up, and you can stop being a plumber and you can do this." Because there's going to be people.
That encouragement,
There's going to
yeah.
be people out there that are going to be from a background who didn't have cannabis in that background, or who are afraid of it, or
Right.
who are using other things, and they're going to have no idea when they enter into that market of how to begin. That's the blue dream story. They're going to just find a name, and they're
and they're going to stick to the
they're
name.
going to attach to it,
Yep.
and they're not going to be able to find that consistency because those systems don't work.
Yeah.
And so that made me believe more than ever, because I've been fired for cannabis. I've been arrested for cannabis.
Yeah, yeah.
I spent the night in jail, over cannabis, more than once, But for me, that showed me, like, I'm not wrong.
Right.
We were right.
We were
They
right.
were wrong,
Yeah.
and so that was my
It's
moment.
proven
to-
itself.
you know.
And that's Little John and Sherweed, by the way.
Yeah.
And
okay.
everything. So if you watch our stuff,
Yes.
that's Little John.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
all right. Shout out, Lil John. Let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
There's a reason why he's in it, and he's got a
Ah.
story, and we're waiting for one day to.
Let that go.
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh.
We're doing it for
and
the
you got
story.
and you got the stories behind.
Yeah.
And I think that's really. That's when we asked. That's why I asked that question, and how the plant touched you, because it touches everyone in multiple ways
Yeah.
and in different
Changes
facets
lives.
of lives, and that's exactly what I believe, and that's what this show is for, guys. Again, I'm just very thankful that you guys were able to bless us with your time.
Thank you.
Bless the state with the idea that what you guys have, and making it the 10th episode. I say episode, show.
Yeah. Sorry, I've been in Roman
Opportunity,
numerals, we're
event,
excited
yes,
about.
the
Yeah.
X.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Double digits, baby.
Yeah, I like that. And so, man, I just, again, congratulations. I wish you guys all the best, because I know we're going to stay in contact.
Yeah,
And
for
in
sure.
3 months, the next quarter, we're going to come back and we're going to see exactly what you guys are doing and what's happening. And then also, I want to come down on this event and get some footage too, so that way we can then show people
Mm-hmm.
as we're telling them. And then we'll be able to have some B footage to let
Absolutely.
people know what you guys
Yeah.
are doing.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. We
Man,
appreciate you and your
know it.
time.
Thank you guys so much. Well, guys, there you have it. I think this show was amazing. Make sure follow in next week. We just got more guests. We got more people to bless you guys with. Definitely go and follow these two, because if you're not following them on social media, you should. It's hilarious. And so if you need that little pick-me-up in the daytime, that's going to really help you, to let you know about some things. Again, guys, we appreciate you. Perry Jones III, MCM. We are signing out. We will see you guys next week, guys.